Julie, how's this resonating outside of the bubble here? This took place in Georgia. We're watching from Washington. You're there in Texas, where a lot of Trump supporters think this is actually a good thing. Donald Trump is now merchandising that mugshot to try to see what he can get out of it.
Well, sure. I mean, this has been a ratings bonanza for him, ratings and raising money bonanza for him every time that he has gone in and gotten indicted. So again, you put that mugshot out there you go. I mean, he's going to raise a lot of money because of this. I think it's the people that are the moderate candidate that are looking for a different Republican to support, that are just about had enough with this. They don't want to see a mugshot of the former president. They want to see Republicans come to some type of an agreement on another candidate. But the base, they are solidly with him. And the moderates, many of them say at the end of the day, they're going to go Republican.
We also heard not just from, of course, President Biden about what's going on, what took place last evening, but we also heard from Speaker McCarthy talking about this. Laura, he has been forthright in his defense of the former president.
Yeah, this is really going to be a key dividing line for Republicans going forward. We saw that in the debate this week of, people raising their hands or not if they would support President Trump if he were indicted and the party's nominee. You basically had everyone on the stage, minus Chris Christie and Asa Hutchinson, two of the people on this in the race who have been the most critical of Trump. But this is going to be a very difficult line for folks to walk, particularly as they look forward. If Trump looks like he's going to get the nomination, they're vying for a VP slot or a cabinet secretary slot, or even for 2028. The base is firmly behind Trump, and so therefore the rest of the Republican field also needs to be.
Let's take a listen to actually what Speaker McCarthy had said about Trump's arrest yesterday.
Why would you go after a political opponent just because you disagree with him? Are you afraid of him? Is it because he's ahead in the polls you indict him? But you never indicted Hillary when she still to this day claims the election was stolen when it proven it was not. Or go down to Georgia that just indicted President Trump. Well, you had a governor's race there that an individual in the Democratic Party claimed was stolen, but nothing happened to that individual.
When you consider the support that he's getting from Republicans in the House, Julie Fine, how important will it be for that to continue? Because the Senate has stopped talking like that. Obviously, Mitch McConnell is not a Trump fan. The leadership is looking in another direction. The House is a different universe, though, isn't it?
The House is a completely different universe, but there are enough supporters in the Freedom Caucus that I think Kevin McCarthy knows his spot, is a difficult one to be in because he has to keep them happy for other things to happen. So right now, I think that the former president will continue to receive a lot of the support that he has in the House. However, you could see some cracks if this is an earlier trial, if more comes out beforehand.
We also had other news today that relates to the economy, which is actually what voters are craving to hear more about. That's when you look at all these polls.
Markets too, for that matter.
Yeah, exactly. And we heard from Jay Powell, and he was pretty direct that he is going to maintain on this path until they get inflation under control, closer to 2%. Take a listen to the Fed chair speaking at Jackson Hole.
We see the current stance of policy as restrictive, putting downward pressure on economic activity, hiring, and inflation. But we cannot identify with certainty the neutral rate of interest, and thus there is always uncertainty about the precise level of monetary policy restraint.
This is a bit more hawkish, Laura, and the issue that some lawmakers are going to take aim at is that he will potentially slow down, or his aim is really to slow down the economy and economic growth to bring in inflation.
Yeah, really, the big headline from Jay Powell is that he says that they are not going to rule out any future rate hikes. I mean, even, there could be, potentially multiple over the course of next year, and that's really bad news for Joe Biden. Particularly, the other big headline this week is that mortgage rates are at the highest in more than 2 decades, and the people looking for homes right now are young buyers, are first-time buyers. Those are the voters that Joe Biden is going after and trying to sell this message of, look, the economy's great. But if you've got a mortgage, you're trying to buy your first home, 7.3%, your buying power is way down, that's something that may turn you to look to Republicans who are saying, look, Bidenomics isn't working, we should go in a totally different direction.
You've talked to us about this before, Julie, considering the flop, frankly, that Bidenomics has been in the polls. When you consider what could be coming in September, as we learned today, the UAW voting to authorize a possible strike, the resumption of student loan payments at the end of the month, the possibility of a government shutdown, all on top of what could be the next Federal Reserve rate hike as expected. How's all that going to play in Texas?
I don't think a lot of that's going to play well in Texas. But overall, I don't think it's going to play well in a lot of places in the South. I mean, people are frustrated as it is. And so you put that all together all at once, it will be frustrating to people. They may be looking for something else. But again, here in Texas, if you are a Democrat and if you're Biden, you're likely to stay with President Biden. It's President Trump or the Republicans, though, that need to pick up more nationally if they want to win this race, because obviously the Republican has to get more votes than Joe Biden did. And right now, are these Democrats looking at what they're seeing from former President Trump and saying, okay, I'm willing to switch? I don't think the inflation is going to do that for Southern Democrats.